Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining us this week, panelists Michael Huber.
Yo!
Michael Damiani.
What's up?
My studious co-moderator, Mr. Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And making it all happen by starting the Zoom call in Slack, Ian Hank.
Hey!
The backbone of the Easy Allies podcast. Saw a lot of people mention last week. Definitely just saw some "Where's Kyle?" and I can't tell if it's a bit. I can't tell on YouTube the comments. Where did Kyle go? It's like I mentioned it in the podcast or maybe it's a bit. Who knows? But not
Last
a bit
I heard
moving forward.
He's in Madagascar, I think. I don't know.
Still?
If you don't really believe in him, you can't see him. So I think that's a personal problem.
You have to clap your hands
Every
loud
time
enough.
a bell rings,
Yeah.
Bossman gets his wings. Bossman goes to another country. So yeah, last week was my first podcast as moderator. One of the things I did not get to do was corrections. And I had my fingers crossed. Maybe I was being naive, but I had my fingers crossed that I wouldn't have any corrections this week. Not the case.
Dreaming.
But since I'm having to take on moderating duties, I will have to pass this along. Mr. Ian Hank, in whatever method you deem most appropriate, please begin corrections music. Eivor is pronounced Eivor. It's not Ivor. It's Eivor. Good to know. Good to know right away as well. Fallout 76 with the Wastelanders update is being very well received by fans of the franchise. It currently has a 79% positive rating on Steam across 3,700 reviews, higher than Fallout 4.
Huh.
Fallout 76 on PC, and this is a different person commenting, but just to add to it, has a 52 Metascore, discounting the Wastelanders update. The Wastelanders update has so far on PC achieved a Metascore of 69 based on 7 reviews. Nice. Chris Bach in the YouTube comments did a great job summarizing AC's current future story. Talked a little bit about what's going on in the future, whether that wrapped up with Desmond and stuff. A really great 3 or 4 paragraph explanation. Didn't really want to get into all of it here because it was very dense and it was also very spoilery. But if you want to go to last week's episode, you can check that out. Blood, you might want to clarify on this. Villagers usually ask to leave no input on your part every 15 days.
Oh. I don't know if that's something people have actually figured out or what. Yeah, I don't know. People have really tried to get people to leave, and they won't leave. and then other people, I've only had 2 of my villagers ask to leave, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think 2 or 3 for me.
But once they ask once and you say no, they don't ask again, right?
No, I think they would still ask again eventually at some point.
Weird. I thought you could just go to Isabel and be like, kick Eloise out.
No,
that's not
to
how that
scrub
works.
the catchphrases and stuff.
Because someone puts an inappropriate thing.
Yeah.
Blood, do you like having that specific information, or does that ruin the mystery for you of Animal Crossing, or do you like knowing? We're talking about flowers.
It depends. Yeah, the flower. Yeah, the Discord I'm in, the flower theories and people trying
Flower
to get things.
meta.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like, oh well, you need orange roses to make blue roses, but not the rare orange roses that grow on your island, but the ones on the Nook Islands. I'm like, okay, great.
I'm trying to get golden roses now.
I'm just going to wait till it rains and hope for the best. Got a lot of notes from people. Didn't focus on The Last of Us 2 leaks. Not going to focus it on it that much again this week for 2 major reasons. One, not a lot to talk about. Just to kind of be, because people were like, I can't wait to hear your discussion. It's like, well, I don't know what discussion you would expect that to be other than this is unfortunate. Look out for them. And I think having our user base and our listeners look out for spoilers, talking about it a ton is not a great way to do that. And just generally, you talk spoilers, what's what I'm looking for? It's like doing a duck call. It's like a spoiler call.
Right.
It's like you're just inviting people to come in.
Yeah.
And that being said, please don't do that. Deadly Premonition is not on PS4. It is backwards compatible on Xbox One, but not natively. Someone remembers Huber on the podcast after 2 was announced and Origins was released, making a point about the Switch being the only modern console with the original Deadly Premonition. Cashel, who sung the song for Deadly Premonition 2 in the trailer released, sounded familiar to one of our users. They also did ungratify the theme song to Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. Yes. Which we all, of course, totally remember. And specifically podcast notes. I forgot to tell people about patreon.com/EasyAllies, and a very, very important part of the Easy Allies podcast. And last week's podcast was way too long, still aiming for about 90 minutes, so hopefully we will keep that this time. End corrections music, please.
End it.
Also want to add 120% ground awesome mentioned 160,000 Nintendo accounts were hacked, and mine was one of them. The hackers spent $900 on Fortnite. Nintendo said they're going to refund me, but it hasn't happened yet, and is really stressful.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So thank you for. It's nice when we talk about these big headlines, and it's nice to get a personal take on some of this stuff, because if this stuff doesn't directly affect us, it's always good to get that perspective. And a lot of people gave me some excellent constructive criticism and a lot of really great feedback. So thank you all for all of that stuff.
What did they say to you?
What, constructive criticism?
Yeah, what they say?
One of the things that Bossman says, and it's really interesting doing like Hollywood Squares now that I have all of you like as an individual box. I can kind of tell like lower right hand box hasn't said something for a while. Let me throw something at them. And they thought that was maybe a little heavy handed. They were like, you don't have to do that. It'd also be good. I kind of feel like a trapeze artist just flying out into the air. It could also be good just to be like, panel, what do we think? And just wait for somebody. But it was my first podcast. I'm so nervous, but maybe I'll do that more today. It's time to play Gaming Gladiators. Three of you have played this. Damiani has not and is raising an eyebrow, which I enjoy. You're intrigued, aren't you, Damiani? Damiani, as you know, we had to close our nightclub, which is frustrating. You know, everyone has a stay-at-home order. That includes video game characters. So when we reopen this, I think a nightclub isn't enough. I really want to go big. I want to start a battle royale gaming gladiator arena. I mean, guess not battle royale, because it'll just be 1v1. Some of you are very creative in doing 100 of these versus 100 of these. I'm looking for one-on-one matches here. And primarily video game characters. Some people threw in Batman and some other people. I really like just to focus on video game characters.
He's in video games.
He is in video games, but he's not, wasn't born in video
from
games. So it's like when you think of skills and stuff like that, your mind might kind of drift to movies and comics and stuff. So let's keep it only with video game characters. I also mentioned in the comments for this week in Love and Respect which ones that we mentioned last week, so I will be keeping a big list so you know who not to mention. So these are all new names and will be new names moving forward. I just want bets. Everybody's just placing their bets. So we're not, obviously this fight has not happened yet. I just, want to give you all the first chance to put in some money on this, to put some bets on there. So I want to know who all of you think will win these head-to-head matches. Keld Humajers and also Surf Spider, both recommended Nathan Drake versus Joel.
Oh.
Ian, what do you think?
I think Joel, because he's, like, Nathan Drake kills a lot of people, but he doesn't get like inventive. Joel has to get like down and dirty sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that he would go the distance, you know what I mean? He would not stop. He would get depraved if he had to.
Nathan Drake also like seeks out the fight though, you know what I mean? Like Joel really wants to, doesn't want the combat, whereas just Nathan is hungry for that stuff.
No, he's not.
Where are you putting your money?
No, he's not, Jones.
He seeks adventure, though, He
seeks adventure. He doesn't seek combat. It's always like, oh shit, people are here, time to fight. He's not like, I'm gonna go kill
400 people.
Yeah, he doesn't have a bloodlust, but he gets on a plane to go somewhere, probably expecting he's gonna have some adversity. Daniel Bloodworth, who's making it out alive?
I mean, Joel has shivs, right?
Sometimes.
I believe.
He can
I will
craft
check
a
the
shiv
reports
out of
later.
just random crap on the ground. I would not want to be fighting him.
I mean, Nathan is an 80s action star. They're going to be able to, like, just obliterate Joel. Like, Nathan Drake can hit him from, like, across the entire game map. So, or whatever arena. So he's going to be able to, like, just destroy him with a shot like that. And all the wounds are going to be flesh wounds to Nathan Drake. So I'm like, sorry, Joel. Like that's what it stinks being based in a more realistic game. That's the breaks. You're easier to kill. That's as simple as that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Also worth noting, obviously Nathan Drake's much better at verticality. Joel's got to get the ladders. It's a big cumbersome process. Whereas Nathan Drake's no stranger to zipping up and down very quickly. The arena, of course, will not have any. This is not Star Wars. I'm not bringing in panels from the walls or anything. This is just going to be dirt. This is going to be Russell Crowe with the tiger, just a flat area. So, get all of the maybe the typical situations that you think
Are
of these
there
characters
waist-high
being in.
walls?
No, it's just literally
Joel's toast.
Joel's toast.
All right, good to know. Good to know. Q from Seattle. Ezio Auditore versus Agent 47. Who is the greatest assassin in history? They both start out on separate ends of town. They both have their usual loadouts of gadgets. Anything goes. Who assassinates who first? How exactly do you think they assassinate the other? Now, of course, again, as I just specified, the arena is very bare bones, but you know, this fight could potentially happen before they even get into the arena. You know, we could call out their names. One of them doesn't even come out, and we're like, "What happened?" It's like, "Oh, we found him in the locker room. He's already dead." You know. So Ian, what do you think?
Who is it again?
Ezio Auditore versus Agent 47.
Oh yeah. 47, I think, because Ezio would be he's a fish out of water. He's a man out of time, you know. 47 would come after him looking like a TV repairman or something, and Ezio wouldn't know, you know, or like Agent 47's like hiding in a, you know, locker, and he's never seen a locker before. He just
He's
pops
the guy
out.
selling popcorn in the stands.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ezio's gonna be so distracted.
Agent 47's their ability to blend in and their ability to like become anyone else, like I don't think
Unmatched.
Ezio doesn't have a chance.
Unmatched. Yeah.
Yeah, like the misdirection game that they're gonna play with Ezio. Like Ezio's gonna think they stabbed and killed the person, and then they're gonna find out it was a decoy.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, Agent 47's decoy game is too good. You have no chance.
And 47's tech is just far
the
superior.
tech is
he has
just
such
gonna-
better. He has hundreds of years of tech on him.
So we call out both names. Only Ezio Auditore walks into the arena, and everyone freaks out. But then he takes the hood off, and it's Agent 47.
Yeah.
Sick.
What do you think, Blood? Not to put words in your mouth. What do you think?
So to me, I think they're both far more conspicuous than they think they are. I think Agent 47, he gets by because people don't know who he is. I think if Ezio knows that's his target, he's gonna spot him from anywhere.
He doesn't have eagle vision. Pretty OP.
True, the game just tells you who you're targeted.
47 couldn't hide because he would just be eagle visioned and he'd be glowing red.
I also think that 47 would get distracted by trying to do the funniest kill, and while he's working up that plan, he would be blindsided.
Finally, we've talked a lot about, you know, big action stars, people with a lot, you know, high body count who are not afraid to do some headshots and fight their way out of a skirmish. But this is a bloodbath. This next match, David Meal submits Slippy Toad versus Tails.
What's
to the death.
Slippy Toad is from what?
So it was from Star Fox.
Oh, okay.
They're both pilots.
I never played Star
the problem
Fox.
is
Yeah.
Slippy
No strangers to the skies.
Slippy is a mechanic. They're not known for their dogfighting skill in an R-wing or any of the machines. They're more known for their engineering prowess and, you know, inventing stuff and fixing stuff. Even though they can use a blaster, I just think Tails is faster. Tails is going to run circles around them.
Miles Tails powers, dude. He's a pilot.
Yeah,
He's a
there's no
real
chance.
pilot.
Miles is used to fighting in the trenches, bouncing, jumping on enemies, taking the hits, you know, protecting the rings, trying to keep up with one of the greatest icons in video games. I think there's no contest here. It's not even close. Sorry,
Not
Slippy.
to mention, Tails keeps coming back. You can't kill that little guy. Like he gets screen killed or drowned or whatever. He'll just float
just in
right
the
back
bubble.
in a second later, and he's fine.
Blood, you on the same page?
Not quite. The separation I see comes actually with their machines, because Tails flies like a biplane.
True.
And Slippy can go at light speed, so
But needs a ship, and there's not going to be a ship in this. It's an arena.
Slippy does the holdo maneuver.
yeah, that's
That's
one in
true.
a million.
Tails can
You
fly
can't do it
without a
again.
ship.
Yeah,
He can fly with his tail.
There's already a Fox
going-
and Star Fox, and he's out in the ending credits 64. You see Slippy falling behind everybody. He's slow. He can't keep
Blood's
up.
money. You put
Tails
your
is
money
just
on
going to run
Slippy,
around
Blood?
him.
I think so. But here, okay, so yeah, we'll take the ships out of the equation. Tails,
Giving this so much thought.
you can grab on to either one of those tails. Slippy, it's all slime. He's
He's
trying to get a
Slippy.
chokehold on
Are
Slippy.
you
He's gonna
sure
pop out.
they're slippery like that? His
His name's Slippy.
He's a toad.
Just because it's named after a toad.
frog.
And we're also forgetting an important thing. Tails miles per hour is an engineer themselves. So if you're gonna I thought you were gonna bring the counter argument of Slippy's just gonna invent some cool gadgets to fight back right there. Tails is gonna counter all that one for one. Be like, "What's up? I
Tails
can make anything you can throw at me."
The live
Tail-
inventing, like Animal Crossing, they're both at their station.
It'd be an invent-off between the two.
Tails might be too soft though. Like he's always like just fun-loving and doesn't want to hurt anybody, right? Like.
But that's also but
Slippy
Slippy's
too.
kind of that way too.
Oh, okay.
They're both
Alright.
kind of the same personality. Yeah.
They're both just like crying and like.
I think they would shake hands
At
at the end. There wouldn't be a
Yeah.
death at the end.
oh, okay. okay.
There'd be a handshake at the end.
And some people, I got some notes and people said, well, where's this going? You know, we have all of these matches, we're getting bets and stuff like that. Are we moving towards something? You know, we'll see. We'll see what this eventually builds up to.
Tease.
It is my first segment, so we'll see how it goes. I was given a gift. I know that right after last week's podcast, it was announced that this morning that Microsoft would be showing gameplay for the Xbox Series X, and I was like, oh, that's what that feels like. Oh, that's wonderful. I got my own podcast segment. This is the only story we're going to talk about. We're going to fill 45 straight minutes talking about this. No, we do have a lot of games to talk about. It will be time eventually to rank the significance. I do want to talk about, first of all, the stuff that was not new, stuff that we did know about. Dirt 5 we did not know about, but this is a franchise that we have heard from before. I actually want to throw to you, Blood. Do we think this is going to be next-gen exclusive, or will this most likely be cross-platform?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's going to be cross-platform. I look up what they said in their press release today.
I feel like games like that often
Yeah,
are.
I think that'll be supporting all the good stuff. Well, let's see. Oh, yeah, no, this is the funny thing about this one is that like they kind of had a flub in their email. Like they say,
this is
next
good.
gen racer Dirt 5 launching October 2020 on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, and then on Stadia in 2021. But like nobody said the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are out in October. So
It's earlier than I expected, yeah. It always
That's
is that, though.
just an
Doesn't somebody
oversight.
always make that
Whoa,
mistake?
dude.
No,
with
it's
I didn't even
that's
put two and
literally
two
just an
together on that.
oversight.
Oh.
They probably meant
Leaks.
the sentence probably was meant to say all the existing systems, and then on PS5, Xbox Series X at a later date. I don't think that
Or
was
we
ever-
just got the scoops.
but it does say and the current generation.
I don't think that's a leak
We shall see.
because the Thanksgiving tweet was the Microsoft that I did delete because they said that wasn't accurate.
Because it was too
anymore.
late, baby.
I think it was too soon.
They were just testing. That's what everybody's doing. Everybody's just testing. They say
All right,
things
I'll will
that
it
they
for
don't
you, Huber.
necessarily mean.
It's a leak. It's a leak.
They can
No,
just call
I'm
it
with
sarcasm
you,
later.
Damiani. It is an oversight. I believe.
Yeah, I think it's
What
one
if
of those
they're
things where like, oh,
cross-gen?
this subject line is too long. Take some words out, and then it just
Yeah.
screwed
Yeah,
up. What they
exactly.
had to say.
October, current gen, November, next gen
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
launch. Probably right.
Yeah.
Any takeaways there, Blood? Anything from Scorn? Sorry, anything from Dirt 5 that called out to you?
I mean,
nothing called out to you during the presentation because you didn't know it was Dirt 5. I'm just
right.
saying.
I mean,
No one else on the team would have known that it was Dirt 5. I need you to just kind of... I don't know where your head was at, man. I need you a little
It's
more focused. There's
it's
a lot
not
of dirt
a franchise
in
that
trailer,
has
is
like
all
a
I'm saying.
lot of like identifying markers. You know, like like if you go and you compare the graphics between like some of the past Turk games and some of the wipes here, then like you can kind of pick that up. But I feel like a lot of those Codemasters guys that have moved over to the Horizon team have sort of adopted a lot of those aesthetics too. So it's weird. A lot of that stuff goes back and forth with those UK devs. But no, the thing that stands out that could be either good or bad or whatever is the focus on voice actors. Having
yeah.
Nolan North and Troy Baker
That's right, yeah.
highlighted in that reveal.
Sure.
It's like we
Not
got
something
him.
you
Like,
expected at all for something from Dirt. It was so
Yeah.
weird, but kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, who knows?
yeah.
Totally.
And of
Yeah.
course, we're talking about next gen hardware. We're talking about the gameplay and really figuring out what this means for that franchise. All I can see is just some like PA going in, being like, "Excuse me, Mr. Baker, would it be all right if you recorded a video on your phone really quick because we're gonna premiere that?" Oh, sure, yeah. You know,
I mean, they're not like pilot and co-pilot, right? Because Dirt is primarily rally driving. Is that who they're voicing? Like,
I'm trying to see exactly, but
I think it's probably campaign stuff.
Got it.
Like your buddy back in the tent. Just
Got
like,
it.
nice win, buddy. We're gonna
Get
make
your
it all
dirt-
the way.
Who gives you your missions and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do they have stories, those games? I've never played a dirt game.
Yeah.
not
do-
exactly. But here we go. So together and in their unique style, the dynamic duo guide and mentor players through the career mode, and feature in the in-game podcast series,
Oh, fun.
In-game
including
like that.
voice talents of other celebrities from the worlds of racing and gaming.
Nice.
That's fun.
Very colorful for a game
Yeah.
called Dirt, by the way. The video. Lots of bright colors.
Yeah.
Which they definitely wanted to focus on and talk about.
The other thing they highlighted was bringing back 4-player split screen couch co-op stuff.
So sweet.
Yep.
Wait,
Super
was
friendly.
there
In
in the actual presentation, was it longer? Because the thing I watched was like 27 minutes and it was almost entirely trailers, just
That was
back
it.
to back. Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is Blood doing his co-moderating duties and sniffing out those extra details.
Okay.
Nice.
A hefty congratulations to Ebb Software and
Yes.
Scorn for their triumphant return to the Easy Alice podcast.
yeah.
A game we will not be reviewing because they long supported us in the early days.
Full
of Easy
playthrough,
Allies
though. It's
as
happening.
podcast
Oh
sponsors.
Mark
yeah,
my
we're gonna
words.
play
Yeah.
the shit out of that. I will say, Ebb, those tapestries are looking more somber than ever.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Dang, so somber,
And dare I say sexy?
sexual.
Yeah.
Those HR Giegers were definitely
Yeah.
ejaculating.
Sexual overtones.
Yeah, oh yeah, sexual, just tones. That
Sexual
whole thing.
Doom Souls. That's what I saw.
But I
There was no
felt
subtext. It was just text. They were just sexting all over.
but I feel bad. I feel bad for the rest of the world. So many people are just like, "What's this Scorn thing?" They're just discovering it.
Right.
And we've
I-
been we have bathed in this game.
I worry. This one maybe exemplifies my worry of this presentation. And I heard like one comment about this, but the guy who hosts Inside Xbox said like, we've got nothing but gameplay, and then almost none of the trailers felt like gameplay. They all felt like in-game cutscenes, like in-game engine stuff. Sure, maybe, but like almost no gameplay. And I worried for Scorn that people were gonna scorn them for being like basically just like environmental shots, right after, like almost right after the guy was like gameplay only.
Yeah.
I was just like, uh-oh.
Hopefully, people that didn't know the game existed just eat up the vibes.
Yeah.
Because the vibes were so spot on, and if everyone, I feel like everyone likes Alien and Aliens, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the fact that it's
For
just like,
sure.
giving those vibes, I feel like.
How
a lot
long ago did we play that demo of Scorn, Huber?
2
That was
years
like
ago?
2
2 years
years
at
ago.
least,
Yeah.
2 years at least.
I was pleased by the amount of horror in this presentation today. A lot of spookiness
yeah.
going on.
They
So what-
they are saying that it's Xbox Series X exclusive at launch.
Scorn
Okay.
is?
Wow.
Yep.
Whoa.
That's
Interesting.
awesome. Congrats.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing I was gonna say, in terms of people reaction to things, I feel like there's this weird like divergence or dichotomy where essentially people like the individual things that were shown, but don't like the entire presentation as a whole.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel like
Yeah.
is how it usually is.
That's
right?
how it, yeah.
Also,
Unless
yeah,
you've got a big bomb in there like Cyberpunk or something, everyone's going to be like, that sucked.
yeah, they didn't have a good anchor. I think Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed is going to take the brunt of all that.
Yeah.
Well, because there was
So
enough.
it's,
We'll
like
get
Scorn's
to it,
going to probably not feel any of that
Yeah.
blowback, in my opinion.
but that they putting it at the end and calling it like exclusive gameplay reveal, and then it's like 12 seconds long was a misstep, I think. But we'll get
Yeah.
to it.
And certainly no one's going to have anything bad to say about Madden NFL 21. A great showing from Madden NFL. Just a lot of
I couldn't even
ton of
show it.
gameplay there.
Mahomes
Skipped
hype.
that part.
That's 6 seconds. Shall we move on?
Yeah, I just
Well,
skipped
EA,
it.
I really
EA
like
did get
Madden.
something
I wanna-
wrong, though.
I want to review.
They
Madden.
presented the smart... what's it called again?
Smart delivery
Smart delivery. EA is not participating in that for any of their games. They're doing their own upgrade
for
system.
any
'cause
of their games.
That's what their thing said. So EA gonna EA. It's
Okay.
not just Madden. Apparently, it's gonna be all their games.
Wow.
How many of their games are
Because they
not
list all
licensed though?
Microsoft lists all their partners, and EA for Smart Delivery, and EA is not on that list.
Right. But
We'll get back to EA too.
yeah, back to what I was saying though with the post show. Like I do wonder when you have licensed properties, like how flexible you are on that stuff, because like you are licensing for particular SKUs, and
Yeah.
they want a cut of like every copy sold. And if you have this nebulous, oh, it plays on both, I think
that might
the
not be
legal structure
EA's
may not be caught up. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what licensed games manage to be on smart delivery.
Maybe, but they've done. I mean, what I'm going to say they've done before with Battlefield 4. They've done the upgrade pass, the $10 pass, like go from PS3 360 to PS4 or Xbox One. So
Right.
they have the system in place. So I think they're just continuing that
Well, in that-
system
in that
again,
case,
where you have
they
to pay a
could-
fee to upgrade.
In that case, they could do a thing where, like, you know, if they had to pay $4 of every total to the NFL or whatever, they just keep doing that and take a bigger loss or something. I don't know. That seems dumb,
Let me
though.
go back to Dirt, actually, because did they say they were doing smart delivery?
Microsoft's not afraid to take a loss.
True.
to embolden their fan base and
Smart
get some-
delivery is not in that Dirt press release, even though it's
Good
coming
words
out
out.
on both next gen and current gen.
Huh.
Will Scorn be on PC also, I wonder?
I would
Or
imagine.
is
Yeah.
just
Scorn,
oh,
right now they're saying it's launching on exclusively on Series X, and so they're not even talking about other platforms at the moment.
But I have a PC. Scorn.
But as long as we're talking about launch, I want to jump ahead to Yakuza Like a Dragon, which, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
said that it was going to be part
Launch
of the launch.
title.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Part of the launch slate, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like code for launch window or if it just
says
means
day
launch
one.
title. Okay, day
so
one. Okay.
awesome. Just a franchise that has been primarily associated with PlayStation since the original and PS2, but lately, Games Pass and all the other Yakuzas have gone
Yeah.
on to other platforms, PC and Xbox, which is awesome. So the last couple years have been so awesome for this franchise because they have worked so hard and passionately to get this franchise on as many current systems as possible. They've done the best job of any studio to get people caught up. Like every studio out there that pumps out sequels and franchises, like this is how you do it. Yakuza Studio, getting it done, letting everyone get ready for the newest entry. 10 out of 10.
To put things on the flip side, though, Huber, anything about what you saw today that excited you strictly from a visual standpoint, other than like just the design of the game, but like knowing this was running on the Series X? Because I know Yakuza 6, you know, a lot of people, all of you were really excited about because it was such a drastic visual improvement. Is this just
Yeah.
kind of in line with that and Judgment, or did this feel new?
Yeah, because I'm not seeing it natively, you know, I just seeing it on stream and like internet woes and everything, I can't get it at its best, you know?
Yeah.
But visually, like I feel like those games always look good to me, so visuals to me isn't like a huge reason I play Yakuza. It's obviously really nice when they look amazing, especially Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2. But yeah, the game's been out for so long in Japan, you know, Jones, that it's just like I don't really need to see any of that game. It's just nice knowing that it's actually going to be cross-gen and launching on Series X. It's just really cool.
Sadly, that's kind of the way we feel about a lot of this stuff. You know, like looking at the Dirt 5 scoring, Madden, it's like, oh, okay, it's good to know that, but I don't necessarily, like, that was not, my expectations just weren't set on that franchise. And that was one of the big thoughts I had going into this presentation. I was like, I bet we're going to see a lot of things that we've maybe already seen running on who knows what, you know, like a really good PC or whatever. And maybe it's not going to be the most exciting thing. All of the new IPs, I think, were the most exciting things to come out of this presentation, and we will get to them in a second. But Ian, for right now, I have 5 words for you. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, Ian. Take us away,
What an
Ian.
unsettling beginning to that trailer. Gosh, like the like Joker like split face people. I was just like, man, this is grotesque.
Yeah.
Hannibal level, man. But
And that's like you, right? Or a character, maybe? Like you have a friend? Possibly
Yeah, I
He's on
couldn't
the
tell if that
colleague
was,
or...
Yeah, I think he might either he either is like your sire or your player character or maybe the bad guy. I don't know. But it seems like a little depraved for your player character, but you always have the choice.
I just think they're all NPCs. I think these are all people
Yeah,
you will
yeah.
meet and be either a part of a mission or getting missions from.
Yeah. And like definitely you get missions from some people that you probably disagree with morally pretty frequently in the Vampire series. But yeah, this game is looking pretty cool to me. The vibes are right. Like to me, I'm sort of like Huber. Huber is to Yakuza as I am to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. It's like I care less about if it looks technically impressive,
Yeah.
but just that it has the right like vibes. And it seems like their vibes are spot on, and I just hope that it runs well and everything and comes out soon. I have no idea. I don't recall it saying a date or anything.
Yeah, let me look
this?
at this again.
I remember we got a ballpark from E3
I think it was
last year, but
2020.
maybe that
They
was...
ballparked it, a long
Yeah.
time ago, but I remember thinking it was ambitious then.
I mentioned this to you, and I actually was like strangely pleased with how kind of basic the character models looked. Because
Yeah.
it looked like they weren't jumping too hard or like trying to sell it in a visual style that it was not going to meet. So yeah, this is something that if it's up-res on next-gen consoles, like I'll probably play it on those. But I don't necessarily need. I just need this. I need this game to interact well. I need it to. I need the world to be free. I need. I would actually be much more concerned about writing and voiceover than like how cool their faces are.
Interactivity is the word of the day, I think, on a game like this. Like you want to be able to make all kinds of crazy choices and like make a cool build with your vampire and like have an impact in that world, solve problems in unique ways. So that's the most important stuff, the writing and everything. Definitely more important than how the models look. Plus it's like, I don't know, it's weird because it feels like watching the trailer is like how my mind remembers Bloodlines 1 looking. You know what I mean? So it's like, it just looks like more of Bloodlines, and I'm excited. And if the load times are less than 15 minutes, it'll be great.
That's next gen, man. Load times are the big thing that we should get excited about.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting excited about something, I wish, Huber, that we could just go on and on and on about how blown away we were today from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I was potentially anticipating that I was not going to be blown away, that it was going to be maybe just kind of like recycling some of the stuff before. I'm surprised I have nothing. I got nothing to say. Like even like reading stories online, I'm like, there's nothing really we found out. And what do we do now, Huber? What do I do with my emotions?
Patience, I think. It's the worst, right? It's like I don't like. I feel like if we're upset or we didn't like the presentation, right, inside Xbox, I feel bad about it. I feel like I'm entitled or something for like, your presentation was horrible, like show us the game, show us more. But at the same time, with like the expectations and the way they framed everything, I think we were right to expect a little
I need one
more.
of you to be entitled. Anybody. Bloodworth, Damiani, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it was all the messaging. That's what doomed this thing to the reception it's getting right now, is that Microsoft put the title of this and the title of the event and in the description saying like you're seeing like the next gen gameplay reveal. Like this is next gen gameplay.
Yeah.
And you got almost nothing with an in-game HUD shown. Few things that looked like they might have been gameplay, but you kept teasing and throwing to Assassin's Creed. Yes, they tweeted out early that it wasn't going to be what you were expecting, but Microsoft still want to have the messaging. So between Ubisoft and Microsoft, like someone messed up with the messaging here, and it just led to this outcome. And I'm not surprised people are reacting this way at all.
Mm-hmm. It was just so flat. It didn't tell us anything we didn't know. It didn't show us anything we didn't know. It didn't give me a clear idea of how this game plays or the scope of it or anything really.
More blood was shed in the cinematic trailer.
Yeah,
well,
the
and
cinematic
the gameplay.
And it did like I feel like there's got to be, we could like make a term for this in gameplay quote unquote reveal trailers where the trailer is framed in a way where at the end you're like, oh, that's it. And then it cuts back to something, in this case, showing the crow on his shoulder or whatever. And you're like, okay, here we go. Now they're going to jump in. Oh, no, that's actually it.
Yeah.
I
thought they were going to do that, Ian. I thought they were going to jump back in.
Yeah, I was like, okay, here we go. Oh, no, it's actually, okay. it's like it's like that's it. Oh, that is it. You know, it's like the double whammy of disappointment.
Yeah.
And that, I think, plays into just like what Damiani was saying, where it's like the messaging beforehand, and then just kind of like your expectations, your mental headspace while you're watching this event plays into the first of the brand new IPs that was introduced, or not necessarily new IPs, but new games that were introduced in this. But that brings us to
Jones, really quickly though.
yes.
I did want to highlight the one takeaway from Assassin's Creed. There's one takeaway shot, and that's the sieges. We do see a lot of things moving towards a castle. Like that one frame it raised questions and piqued my interest, and I was like, oh, let me see a little more of that. But now I'm kind of just left with, well, we knew these were in the game already, so I still know nothing really.
But I was a pessimist. Yeah, I appreciate you digging that up.
That was a cool shot.
Cool shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, is it's like, we know what the game aesthetically looks like, right? Because, like, the CG trailers never really give us that. The CG trailers always kind of feel like it's almost like a different level, a different brand, almost, you know? Like,
it's the blur cinematic version of the game,
right.
you know?
So we know what the game looks like now, but like, they literally titled this the first look at gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was basically like they showed screenshots.
It's like a glimpse.
Like, they could have just shown screenshots and it would have been the same thing pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds, like, right? It's like so
It's
brief.
probably longer. Let me
It's like,
pull
I
it
think
up
it's
real quick.
minute.
two-ish, like minute 30,
But
maybe
like-
90
It's
a minute.
seconds.
It's like a minute 20.
But with
Because-
that's
yeah.
including like title screens and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just
Fade
like,
to
1:30.
yeah. Oh god,
Yikes.
so many cuts to black. Oh.
But we do have some new IP. We do have some stuff that was announced today that either we did not know a new game was coming out of this team, or potentially adding on to this franchise, or just some brand spanking new shiny IP, which gives us an opportunity and my first chance to play Rank the Significance! All right. Kicking the whole thing off, and I think setting the absolute wrong tone for the rest of the presentation, Bright Memory Infinite from developer FYQD Personal Studio, one person putting all this together. Previously has been on Steam, but that was just what was called Episode 1, which launched on my 40th birthday, January 20th, 2019. And now that person is developing this into a full big game. And this was the only thing we saw in the presentation that was a big clip from start to finish, just one person playing something. And so I think that kind of set your mind of like, here we go. Okay, this is what we can expect from each of these games. And then not only did that disappoint me every single video afterward that no, they're not doing this, even with Scorn. Love you, Scorn, but you know, they kind of set expectations there. But I kept thinking, and I was sure imagine a lot of people were, that they're like, yes, but Assassin's Creed will save us.
And they kept teasing it in the bottom, Jones.
Right.
Like, stay tuned for that blowout.
We'll get there.
They need to stop doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no way one dude developing this game is going to, one up Ubisoft. But here we are.
1,000 employee Ubisoft on Valhalla, probably.
And there was lots of colorful lighting, lots of particle effects, lots of weather effects. They put it at night, which is always kind of a challenge, like to have a lot of detail in environments and stuff. We had grappling hooks and swords, and guns, and car. Did this jump out at anybody? Is this on anybody's list?
It must not have, because I'm trying to remember which one this is right now.
It's the one that looks like it's in like a stormy like Japanese temple, but then you get all this like grappling hooks and guns and like
Starts up, yeah.
Yeah,
big
I'm
old
Guns of
broadswords.
Tsushima.
It looked really cool. Definitely on my radar now, 100%. I love first-person shooters. I love first-person shooters with mobility.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I got a Bulletstorm vibe, kind of with the whip thing, but then I also got Titanfall vibes with running on the walls. Looked really cool. The gun feedback looked really cool, like hitting people. Just looked like a sweet game. I'm blown away that that's made by one person.
Yeah. What's interesting is I'm looking through my inbox and like, oh, I've had emails about this since like November. And I just like, it just has not caught me.
It's like the one game I saw besides maybe Scorn that felt like it was actually a tech showpiece for the hardware.
Yeah.
That I was seeing something that felt believable for being next gen, or something that I could believe is like high end PC. So that looked pretty good.
You could really stare at it, scrutinize it. You had the time to do that, which nobody
Took its time. Yeah, you were right, Jones. It set the bar a little higher than it should have been, I think, for the rest of the presentation.
I remember thinking the motion in it looked really smooth. which in a weird way. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, it seems. I like the idea of moving between a big old like saw machine gun and a sword, though. That seems fun.
Yeah. Cool balance.
But Blood, you said this didn't jump out at you from getting emails. I certainly feel you there, having to delete as many emails as I do every single day. But I mean, this is so. At the end of the day, this is probably better for Personal Studio than for Microsoft. It's probably a bigger deal for them than as like a get for Microsoft, which is interesting because they opened the presentation with it.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was so fascinating. I'm really curious why specifically that was picked as the first thing. And then we have Chorvs.
Chorus.
I know.
Corvus.
From Deep Silver Fish Labs, space combat shooter. Pilot and ship are both characters, which I think is fun, Knight Rider style. So you got the AI, these two, their voice actors cast as both, and did show a lot of gameplay, but again, just like lots of quick cuts. And I'm actually curious, Damiani, what you think, because I know you're a Star Fox fan, and the only other thing, Starlink was the only other thing I could think of that kind of looks like this. This doesn't seem like a genre that we get a lot. Certainly not presented in presentations like this.
Yeah, I was pleased to see a game of this style. When we were doing the reactions, you did make a good point that stuck with me after the fact, Jones. I think you made the point about the presentation of parts of that seemed to be in conflict with the objective in terms of like they were trying to do like some story beats, but they didn't really come off as like intriguing or holding your interest. Whereas like the best parts were seeing like the space battle stuff, the supposed gameplay, and getting more of that and getting more context, just contextualizing that a little bit better. I mean, I pretty much understand what I'm getting, and like this is a game I probably will want to try out whenever it comes, whenever it releases. But in terms of like I'm always kind of sold on space stuff. Like you already got my attention, so you've done like a lot of the work with that. But in terms of like the story, like I couldn't tell you. I'm like it's nothing to do with the narrative of that presentation. That has anything to do with why I'm intrigued with this game. So I'm worried. I hope that they put a lot of effort into that, and that comes out in future marketing materials. I hope it's good, and I hope they do a better job focusing on that, because I think they just should have stuck with the showing gameplay and not even like alluding to any of those narrative elements.
I like the idea of if they put it do we know who the ship is? Did they put someone's consciousness in there, and that's why she cares? I
think it's an AI. They are in like a revenge mission. Okay. I guess they got
because I think that's cool that the ship is a character. That's a cool dynamic.
Yeah, so basically
potential Titanfall 2 vibes.
The description here, dual protagonists, ex-cultist Nara, an ace pilot with a haunted past, and Forsaken, a sentient AI starfighter and Nara's closest ally, which has a mysterious backstory of his own to unravel. And then they go into talking about they fight to free the galaxy from the Circle, the oppressive cult that will stop at nothing to ensure complete subjugation.
It's funny when it comes to video games, and I wonder, I'm sure someone has done studies of this, but like I would be curious to see data on if a new IP reveal gets more traction focusing on story or showing like what the game is. Because like I would say always just show the game. Like no one cares about your story. Like in a new IP until you like win them over with like what is this first, like
how much more
you're doing it backwards,
right?
Ian, that's a good point.
So true, Ian.
For sure.
Like show the world.
Once people are in, then you hook them further with the story, but you got to get them in first, and the story isn't usually the way.
Looking at both sides of the coin, I think if I'm a story fan, if I see a gameplay and then I'm intrigued, I will then seek out more details because of the story. If I'm a gameplay fan and I get a lot of story, I just don't care. I'm not going to like look that game up later because I think possibly based on what the character said, this gameplay does look intriguing. Like,
and it's so easy to like get spoofed. Like I've gotten hoodwinked by video game trailers time and time again, where like the story makes it. Like, the version of the game in my mind, based on the story and the things they're telling me, looks cool, like it would play well. And then you jump in and you're like, like if I had seen this, I wouldn't have spent the money on, or whatever.
Something that did focus on story, Call of the Sea from developer Out of the Blue, first-person adventure puzzle game in the 1930s in an island in the South Pacific where you have a wife looking for her husband, and in order to do so, she must turn into a fish person. And that will be, unless you're playing different characters, I don't know. Maybe she was a fish person going there. But I don't know if this is necessarily something that really is going to showcase the power of the Series X. It did look very pretty. But this is, they didn't really focus too much on story. Again, that's really all we were able to glean from it. But
To me,
kind of Sea of Thieves aesthetic, I dug it.
Yeah, I mean, if I like puzzle stuff, I was way in until I saw it was called Call of the Sea, and then I was like, uh-oh, there's probably like a bunch of underwater buildings, and that freaks me out. So I'm like,
sure.
Face your fear.
Yeah. Will puzzles help me overcome my fear?
Think positively, Ian. That last shot, you looked like you were maybe transforming into, an aquatic animal of some kind, maybe a fish. Maybe that's what it is you're being called back to the sea, and it's
getting
all
away
natural,
from
all natural and life stuff. There will be no human structures in the water. It's not what it is.
All natural white pistachio nuts.
Does Sissy Jones ring a bell to anybody?
That name does sound familiar. What is that?
So that's the actress. She's won BAFTAs, and she was in.
Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, you just put the F in there, but I did know she was in Firewatch, wasn't she?
Oh.
Yep. Firewatch,
okay.
Life is Strange, and Walking Dead.
Okay. Yeah.
Good pull, Jones.
Yeah. The Ascent from developer Neon Giant. Huber, so much good co-op news today. 4-player local online multiplayer action RPG.
Yeah, this looks sick.
Top-down, big guns. One of the things that stood out to me that I dug from their description, lots of environment destruction.
Yeah.
They said if you recall the lobby scene from The Matrix, that's what we're going for.
Nice.
Yeah.
And for something co-op, that was one of my favorite things about the Ultimate Alliance and the Legends games, was just like before I left a room, like there was nothing else you could destroy in that room. I would just run around. Any ranged character, I would just...
I immediately thought of that game Helldivers, which came out a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just such a cool game, and there's not a lot of opportunities like that for 4 people to get in the same room and play a top-down action RPG like that, dude. I'm so pumped. Game looks sweet.
It's going to be a year before we're in the same room.
I know.
We'll see. I admit I'm actually kind of on the fence, not necessarily about the game itself, but just the way that was presented. Huber, you already talked about it. The Medium from Bloober Team.
Yes.
Which has done a bunch of stuff, but Layers of Fear. Perspective changes perception is their main tagline for this, and as we already stated, Akira Yamaoka from Silent Hill fame is doing the score, but they were sneaky
Part of the
with
score.
We stated that before we
That's
recorded, too.
They were sneaky with the trailer. We didn't get a lot of gameplay of this. I think we had like 3 shots just to kind of show like there it is. We did bring that to the table, but it probably would have been weird to show that before they introduced it via the story, but. That was a bit devious, but you're still into it, Hubert.
I'm so into this game. I like Bloober Team. I like Layers of Fear. Observation is sick.
No loading screens.
Yeah, no loading screens. The interview too really sold me with him because he had such a clear vision. He was talking about the themes of all their games: Blair Witch, Layers of Fear, Observation. Like, this is a game where they're clearly saying something. And usually the best horror has something to say. So I'm very intrigued. I'm so hyped for this. This is, out of everything we saw in the press conference, this was my number one, despite not seeing too much gameplay there, Jones.
Yeah, I was proud of myself while I was watching it, because I was like, this sounds like Silent Hill. And then he was like, it's Akira Yamaoka. And I was like, okay, yeah. But yeah, I liked that he called it psychological horror, not like survival horror or anything, but psychological horror.
Yeah.
And
Observer, not observation. That's
Observers. Did I say Observation?
Yeah.
Observers.
2 different games. Yeah.
Yes.
Played Observer.
Observer Redux is coming out also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like a next gen version with more stuff.
That's the Rutger Hauer one, right?
Yep. From Bloober.
And Silent Hill 2 hype, he said that in the interview that Silent Hill 2 is the best horror game ever made. So
yeah,
he's not wrong.
Not wrong.
Was that interview afterwards or something?
Yeah, they had a little
okay.
something.
Oh, that wasn't
Can't miss
on
those.
YouTube.
No,
just the idea of like two realities or dimensions or whatever it is in this game with not only different vibes but different music and just a different feeling. Like this, I'm so pumped. I'm so
Like
pumped with this
Silent
game.
Hill.
Yeah.
Scarlet Nexus from the developers of Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah.
You can lift, break, and throw the environment, which I do not recall if we saw a lot of that from the trailer. They also called it a brain punk future. I thought that was interesting.
Brain
I'm not sure.
punk.
Brain punk.
Brain punk.
So it was like flower
brain
head
punk.
monsters or whatever.
Flower head
Yeah.
monsters, yeah.
Oh, right. Yep, yep.
Of all shapes and sizes. Damiani, anything in this stand out to you?
Just that it's it's nice to see the Vesperia team working on another project that's not Tales. I mean, it's got the anime aesthetic, obviously, but it definitely gave more of a character action type vibe. A lot of like real time combat, just cool environments. I'm always drawn to more fantasy, colorful stuff, and even if it's gonna look like, I mean, I like a lot of anime, so the Tokyo, I'm assuming it's Tokyo, but the Japanese influenced shots of those cityscapes looked really cool to me. Did not look next gen at all, though. It looked like something that would run on an Xbox One or PS4.
It looked
the frame
identical
rate,
to Astral Chain.
the frame rate was mostly steady, and I don't know if it was our feed or when we were watching the YouTube VOD, there was one part that stuttered a bit, but otherwise I'm assuming it's just going to be running at a very nice frame rate, which does wonders for these types of games, especially character action game, but also these games that go through the anime aesthetic. This looks really good. So, I mean, I was digging the vibes. It's definitely crazy, over the top. And the fact that it's not just like a typical Tales style RPG, and they're trying to do something different, because they had Code Vein before, and it was the same team, but Bandai Namco's tried to branch out, with these nice anime looking visual games, and this is something that I hope does well, because they can't just rely on like Tales and some of the other games like that.
Right.
One of the last pre-summer Xbox fests we got from last year really focused on Phantasy Star Online 2. Is this like a trend that we will see continue from Microsoft to like try to get a game, a very prominent anime-looking Japanese game in their lineup to just kind of like diversify the offerings and get people that aren't do not play Madden, aren't looking forward to Scorn?
I mean, Microsoft. So there's Microsoft, especially Xbox, has a long history with anime and anime games, though. They've done a lot with like Dragon Ball games. Like they do a lot of heavy marketing for like all the Dragon Ball games come out this past gen and the gen before it. Bandai Namco and them have a really good working relationship. So it's like a very high priority to get Bandai Namco's games on Xbox platforms. I mean, they want to be on every platform, but like from a marketing standpoint, Microsoft loves, from what I've seen behind the scenes, they do love to work with them, and they love promoting that stuff. So this being another Bandai Namco game, it just made sense that they would promote this. I would be more interested to see them going after games from other publishers who might not, especially this past gen, maybe weren't as prominently featured in either on Xbox systems or stuff like that. So this was a little bit more expected. If you were to ask me what is the one Japanese studio that will show a game on an Xbox event, I'd be Bandai Namco, absolutely. And it'll probably be an anime. It'll be probably a Dragon Ball or Naruto or some anime or One Piece game. Yeah.
Right.
Because
But as you said,
Vesperia launched on 360, right? So they clearly are.
So
tight
it was
with
yeah.
this
So that
team.
if you're referencing Microsoft went after a bunch of Japanese studios back in the 360 era. They scooped up like Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Tales of Vesperia, and they were all timed exclusives. Some of them were like Tales of Vesperia eventually came to PS3 in Japan, and then obviously we got the HD remastered version that came on all platforms pretty much. So it did show like a bump in sales in Japan, but it ultimately didn't have any long-term success. I mean, we also saw like 13 went multi-platform after being like a Sony PlayStation exclusive for so long. But I think that was an experiment that ultimately didn't pan out, because a lot of those titles ultimately didn't provide the sales boost that they needed. Especially like Final Fantasy 13, I think that got like outsold like 4-1 or something on like PlayStation and Xbox. It was really bad for the Xbox 360 version.
And finally, Second Extinction from developer Systemic Reaction, co-op shooter versus, quote, evil mutant dinosaurs.
They're evil. Oh, okay.
They're evil, very specifically evil.
Did not know they were evil.
Yeah, they're just evil. Just like, is that just the natural state of dinosaurs, just trying to eat, do their thing?
No, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they
These are
hunt
future
for fun.
dinosaurs.
They're
They
just
hunt for
survivors,
fun.
man. They're just
They're hunting for
they
fun.
hunt for
They're not
sport.
plotting.
Yeah.
This game looks cool. I can't wait to play with Don.
It's a very Vermintide kind of game.
Yeah,
for sure.
and of
You
course,
take that back.
Right? How dare?
Intense
and of course,
three-player co-op.
Nothing is like Vermintide.
3-player, interesting.
Three-player.
Sorry,
I missed
everyone.
that.
Me, Ian, and Don.
Hey-o. I'm in.
Bye, everyone.
Just make sure. Yeah,
They
any
like
word about-
dinos.
Right.
Now you can convince Ben replace weekly hunts with this.
Oh,
Still
here's a
on.
little wrinkle. I don't know if they have any more info on this yet. Take part in a joint effort. Your actions, together with the rest of the community, will shape the course of the war against the dinosaurs.
Whoa,
The
dude,
war
persistence.
Dino Riders, the game here.
It's
They
like,
did say, they want to make a dynamics. They're gonna have a war effort mode.
Was that
Okay.
like
They
said
Planet,
more info on
Planetside?
that later.
Planetscape?
Like,
Planetside 2 or whatever?
yeah, would it be like Planetside or more like For Honor did, like seasons, and then whoever would win the entire season would just get some bonuses? It'll be interesting to see. Like, does it impact the actual map and the games,
Oh,
or
like
is
Death
it
Stranding.
just some? Yeah, is it just some cosmetics?
Death
Closed
Stranding,
beta on
dude.
Steam this summer.
Cool.
All right,
It's
here we
almost
go.
summer
1,
right now.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Time to rank the significance. Let's just let me know if these are on the top or on the bottom. Well, I mean, we can maybe say medium. Hubert, are you?
That's my number
anything
one,
above-
man.
Anything beat medium out. Hubert's just super excited about it.
The thing is, I don't know if how significant it is. It just got me really excited.
Yeah, I mean, significant to me personally, like, of the ones on here that I want to play the most, it would be probably medium and Scorn, I guess. And
These are just the new IPs.
Chorus
so these are just,
one?
Yeah.
just
the
new
space
IP.
combat shooter.
Yeah, Chorus looked kind of. I think that was a weird trailer, like we were saying before. Like, it focused on story to the extent that I didn't even know if it was just straight up a space combat game or if it was just had space combat parts and the rest were like walking around and talking. I don't know. But yeah, medium.
you're
I
already
think
picking-
for me.
Who is specifically going to be on the second Extinction stream? Is that meaning it's number 2, number 3? Is it high up there?
It's like middle.
Middle. Okay.
It's like 3, yeah, 3, 4.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything in that second slot? Anybody feeling anything? Call of the Sea, Chorus, Bright Memory Infinite. What about Bright Memory Infinite? Do we? It sucks because it was I think they brought what everyone should have to this presentation.
Right.
But then I don't know how high potentially even at the bottom of the list.
I think
I
this
also
is the
think
breaks
Either
for
that or maybe Call of the Sea.
It looked. I think Bright Memory. It probably won't come out for a very long time.
Oh, there's that. Okay.
I don't know, because they're talking about this as if these games are, like, as a group coming for the holiday season.
People
I'm
love
curious.
to think that.
Right.
Yeah. That's what they'd like you to think.
They love you to think that.
Is something like The Ascent more interesting than Call of the Sea? Something 4-player local online multiplayer where you're blowing stuff up versus turning
Personally
into a
more
first person?
interested in Call of the Sea, but you're talking
Same.
about significance.
Yeah. Okay. I don't.
Here's
There's.
the thing.
Well, I think interest really's got to play in here because these are probably not a lot of developers we're familiar with. Obviously, we're familiar with Bloober Team,
Right.
but
If we're ranking significance in terms of like global impact, they're all 7.
right, yeah, these are. It's tough because these are all. I think this list could shake out.
Like
Let's
the
put Call of
medium
the
is
Sea
6.
up here a little bit.
I feel like Bandai Namco is probably number 1 even because I feel like that is significant. That is a big get, an exclusive.
Oh, Scarlet Nexus.
They can
Yeah.
go either way.
What about Damiani? What do you think?
I feel like that's
number
the most
2.
I
Maybe?
think it's. I put Scarlet Nexus in the middle. I don't think it's in the lower part, but it's like probably in the middle. I mean, it probably has. Code Vein had a lot of buzz and some potential. I mean, it's prolonged in development / delays. I think hurt it. So, I think this game's an easier concept to digest. It came across much more easily in the trailer. I think throwing the Tales of Vesperia team's name out there is gonna, especially after the reception the remaster got, definitive edition got when it came out recently. I think that's gonna help it a bit. So I think it pushes it to like definitely like a middle contender at the very least.
Are we more excited for The Ascent or Corvs?
Chorus. Why do you keep
Chorus.
doing the V?
Because
it's
they
fun.
did the.
I like messing
He's
with
doing
them.
it on
Trying to
purpose.
like churches, like what?
Well, it's just a font choice. They spell it with a U in the
Well, it's the
text.
Roman
It's a-
way.
Yeah, it's a V.
But in Latin alphabet.
You show me a V, I'm saying V. But yeah, Blood said Chorus. Are we
Yeah.
Ascent looks like fun, but it might, maybe. Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about characters from Chorus, that's for sure.
I really, with the story plus the gameplay, like it gives me Ace Combat vibes, and so I hope it continues along those lines.
All right, I got a rough list here. Medium up on top, Call of the Sea, potentially number 2, or Second Extinction. Scarlet Nexus, closer to the middle there, according to Damiani. Then Chorus, then the Ascent, and Bright Memory Infinite at the bottom. How do we feel about that?
Seems good,
Yeah,
man.
you could flip Second Extinction and Chorus maybe, but like,
Yeah.
Okay. I did see a lot of people freaking out about Second Extinction, just because I think
alright.
that's like a predator hunting ground.
It's what people
it's
like,
a crowd
yeah.
I
pleaser.
think
It's
it's
a crowd
number
pleaser.
2.
yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it up
And
there.
I
Keep
think-
it up there.
Okay,
I'm not.
There we go.
Before we finalize it, can someone just give me an argument for Call of the Sea over Scarlet Nexus? I can
Ian
go
and-
either way.
Ian Blood felt good about it.
I'm just
I mean, I
curious,
don't
like
think
in terms
either
of
of them is-
impact. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like greater significance to other people, yeah, I don't know.
You wanted Scarlet Nexus to be in the middle. Are you upset that Call of the Sea?
I
might
mean, I
be
would put
ahead
Call
of
of the Sea
Scarlet Nexus?
that's why I'm not mad. If they're coming back to
Yeah.
back, they're the same to me pretty much. Like, I just think
People
the
loved that,
Bandai Namco Edge helped Scarlet Nexus. It has nothing to do with the game's look or anything. It's just who's publishing it and developing
Don't
it.
forget about The Shape of Water. That thing won an Oscar.
Yep.
It's true.
People love that fish love.
This is a really interesing.
When
new
you find your
studio,
husband,
too,
will he
though.
be a fish? If he's not, will you make love to him as a fish? These are
Will you be
These are the questions I
disappointed
have.
if he's not a fish?
right.
I will be.
But yeah, I actually I clicked on the link from Xbox and there's like a whole little blog from them. But there's only 12 guys. They're in Madrid, so it looks like it's a mix of people from like Tequila Works and
Oh, really?
the
Interesting.
Castlevania guys.
Mercury
Mercury
Steam.
Steam.
Yeah, so they
Interesting.
Okay.
worked on Samus Returns, Deadlight, Guilt, Celeste, somehow,
Probably
Guacamelee 2,
team
and Space
members.
Lords.
Guacamole.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guacamelee, I know. That's Call of the Sea?
Yeah.
yeah.
Team? Wow, okay.
And that was the Xbox Series X gameplay reveal. All right. I am presented with my first Nintendo financial report, and what am I looking at? I don't know.
I got a bunch of notes for you, Jones.
Yeah, it's tough to parse the information. It's tough to really
So,
know what they're talking about,
yeah.
how much time this spans, and
Sure.
what the big takeaways are.
I can
So,
contextualize this.
the
very-
host of Friend Code, take over this podcast.
For sure. So Nintendo put out their fiscal year 2020 financial briefing, and as some people probably guessed, their numbers, despite everything going on, are very, very good. Starting with total Switch sales for the fiscal year 2020, just over 21 million Switches were moved in the fiscal year. Roughly 15 million on normal Switches and about 6 million Switch Lites was the breakdown. And put that into perspective, Nintendo set a target for this fiscal year of 18 million, so they beat it by 3 million. If you remember the previous one, they went a little too ambitious and had to scale it back. This time they overshot, they beat it, which is really good. And they also said the lifetime Switch sales are now at 55.77 million sold. So just in 3 years, it's already over the 50 million mark. So the system itself is doing really good. It's unbelievably doing very well. It's approaching some good milestones. It's gonna pass the NES's life. NES is next on the ladder of beating all the
Nice.
systems. Already passed Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, and Wii U. And for those keeping score, after NES, it's GBA. And then the big boys, the 100 million plus club of the
Yeah.
Wii, Game Boy, DS. That might be a while. So yeah, hardware doing really well. But the software doing even better. And I want to start with Animal Crossing because I know a lot of you have been playing and love Animal Crossing. You're gonna like this statistic. Animal Crossing New Horizons sold 11 million copies in its first 11 days, averaging 1 million copies a day. And it is now the 7th best-selling Switch game of all time already.
And the total sales so far compared to old Animal Crossings is hilarious.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's already
It's the
outsold.
best-
Like almost 2 mil or
Lifetime.
something was the not like you literally add up all the other Animal Crossings and it's still just dwarf.
It's
this
outsold
count-
Lifetime.
Maybe
of
the last two.
two.
I think it was the last two.
It's
Or
only
maybe it was
it's
just the first
on an individual level. It's outsold every it has better individual sales, but you can't combine any just yet. Like
No,
New Leaf and what was the DS one? Holy crap, Wild World.
Wild World.
Those are pretty high, but if you combine them together, but New Horizons better than both of them individually. I don't think this comes as a surprise to anyone. This thing has just been like in social media and dominating headlines with people doing all sorts of crazy things with this. I don't know if you saw it, that mock-up quality of life video. There already is like
Oh my God,
over
yeah.
half a million views. I wonder if that'll get Nintendo's attention. But this is what people are talking about. It's the perfect game for this environment right now.
I tried to make it all the way through that video, Damiani. It was too painful because none of that's happening.
Yep.
So and some of the
And
stuff
that
I thought they might do,
presentation's so good though.
but I know, but it's like some of the stuff I was thinking like, yeah, I thought about this. Yeah, of course, do that. And then they were adding other stuff like ZR to just drop items out of your inventory, and it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't even think about.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that, because now I'm gonna be going to the menu to drop items like a sucker. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody why this is an important game to a lot of people right now. But
Yeah.
it's, as I said before, even before it launched, before it like kind of got swept up in the zeitgeist, it was just surprising to me because it was one of those things that I thought was kind of a weird personal obsession just for myself. Like this, when we talked about 2020, I said this was my most anticipated game, and so to have that turn out to be one of the best sellers of the year so far, certainly something that is like helping really move the needle for the console that it's exclusive to.
It's
It's
like
some
the greatest timing of a video game release in world history.
that
like-
delay.
The
That
delay
like,
that was heard around the world.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, yeah. Everyone like
sometimes,
captive
yeah.
audience.
Yeah, that's just,
Simulating the life you can't have right now, like,
Well, yeah,
It's
and
too good.
actually being able to get together with friends and talk
Yeah,
and do stuff,
yeah.
and I've had those moments a couple of times now where people that I haven't talked to in 10 years and sometimes longer, like somehow, once upon a time they added me to a friends list on the DS or the Wii or whatever, and they've still been on my friends list. And then they just pop into Animal Crossing one day, and I've got my gate open. Like, hey, how you doing? Like, yeah, my daughter's here. We're trying to catch Nemo. And like, okay.
Yeah, the social element in this game, I think it's the obvious answer for this. I mean, Jones, just your like island hopping streams and stuff,
Yeah.
how people love that. I know you've seen it, and I know you want to be on it badly. The Gary Whitta animal talking thing, that
my
presentation
God,
was just
yeah.
like, holy crap. Like, it's a phenomenon. Like,
Shout out to Gabe and Tycho from Penny Arcade, who said, because we hosted them, and Gary was like, "Easy Allies, this is the thing," and all the panels, Justine and Joey from Kind of Funny, they're all like, yeah.
Oh, you
Easy
went
Allies,
back
thumbs
and
up,
listened
Easy
to
Allies. Yeah, I did.
all of them?
and Gabe and Tycho from Penny Arcade were first to be like, oh yeah, I like them, and I was like, all right.
Nice.
Have not spoken to either of those gentlemen since we started
Yeah.
Easy Allies, so
Yeah,
good to know we're getting the word out. But I've been to 50
I
different
probably haven't
islands.
talked to them since before GT days.
I've been to
Like,
50 different islands on that island hop, Damiani, and I get surprised every time. I see some outfit I've never seen before, or something, something someone is able to design, or how creatively, they used certain objects, and it's fun, and it's just.
I had a rude awakening this morning because I was all excited. I was going to place my final ramp. I was going to have everything optimized for all the paths that I did. And then this morning I discovered that you can only have 8 inclines total, and I need 9. I need a 9th
Does
one,
that
and
include
everything would have been
bridges?
perfect.
Is it 8 bridges and 8 inclines, or 8 of both?
Apparently 8 bridges and 8 inclines total
Okay,
each.
good. I'm
Each.
good.
Ian, what's to
I'm
Put it in the
good.
update. Make a
I'm
video,
good.
Ian. 500,000 views.
Ian, what's
Yeah.
to say?
There you go. Yeah, Ian. The quality of life update 2.0.
9 times.
Oh gosh,
inclines.
9 times.
What is that?
Animal Crossing.
Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller. Yeah.
But yeah, for me though, it's not surprising that it did well. But when you see that scale,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
see that it's already outsold the 3DS game, which was gigantic,
Yeah.
it's like,
That
what?
was the thing I saw was like it was like first 6 weeks was in red, and it was like 13 million for this one, and then like the red for the previous 2 was like way down at like 2 or 3 million, which is still great, but then they topped out at like 10 or 11, So it's like in the first 6 weeks, it's already done better than the last 2 did in their lifetime. It was so cool.
I think you're going to
Quarantine,
see,
baby.
yeah, you're going to see this trend as we go through a few more of these. This trend continues for Nintendo. Like things have been going really well with them. Might offer you some insight into why they're not in a rush to maybe announce new things because existing things are selling so well. And Pokemon Sword and Shield, which does have upcoming DLC scheduled to come out in June, barring any delays from the current situation. It's sitting Sword and Shield combined sitting at 17.37 million. Its lifetime to date is now higher than any individual 3DS Pokemon entry, and it is on pace to be the second best-selling entry in the series period, only behind Red and Blue. No, Red, Green, and Blue, which that has 31 million. It's gonna probably by the end of this year, it will beat the number 2, which is Gold and Silver. So this game that had all these back and forth over which side were you on, how what that really mattered in the end in terms of sales, this thing is just a juggernaut. It just can't be stopped.
That's something I find that I forget about in the video gaming sphere is there are the video game enthusiast press sites like us, and then enthusiast fandoms that are vocal and you hear about. And then there's just everybody else who just buys and plays the damn thing and doesn't talk about it and just loves it. And that latter group is the biggest.
Right.
Sometimes.
That's why influencers get paid a lot of money, because they appeal to that group and not the vocal enthusiast, the minority hardcore fans usually. So that's good, because hopefully it's a good thing in terms of that the DLC might improve upon things, and also the more money they make, it just gives you more optimism that maybe they'll put that back into development of future ones, and who knows what the future might hold for it.
If it ain't broke, they ain't gonna fix it. They're not gonna change anything if it's printing money.
I think they're
gonna keep it as same as they always have.
Well, people like to call it a dinosaur in terms of it just doesn't evolve.
Yeah.
I still think there are small things that subtly evolve with that game. I know I'm using the evolvement motif or whatever. It just improves a bit each generation. It's slow, but it's still ticking upward in my opinion. I think it's just not fast enough for some people's taste, and obviously there's people who get upset about certain things, and that's their prerogative and stuff. I'm not judging you on that, but at the same time, I still think the game at the end of the day wasn't that bad. It was pretty enjoyable despite a bunch of its flaws.
That's something that I think you'll see when you're the series that innovated a thing or made it huge with a style or a technology or a filming technique or in any kind of medium or technology or whatever. If you're the one who originated it and then everyone else starts copying it, the copies can sometimes outpace the original because they're innovating in different ways because they have to not get sued or whatever, or various other reasons. So Pokemon has been imitated so often that the original can sometimes feel outdated because it's like going back to watch Citizen Kane, and you're because everything learned filmmaking from it in a certain way, but I don't know.
We got a tie actually. I'm not going to every single game, but there was a tie for the third best-selling lifetime to date Switch games. Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are tied at 17.41 million.
Feels right, dude. Feels
Mario games usually sell very well. Mario games usually sell very well, sell the bigger numbers. But this has just been the story for the last 3 years. Breath of the Wild, it's just, if you doubt it, it's how big of a success story this is. It's the best entry in the series now by almost over 10 million. It none of the others we're talking Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, these juggernauts that people I saw the trailers, the biggest thing, key moments in video game history, people said would never come again. Breath of the Wild just proved, something came that was even bigger than both of these combined. So it's just that is the most eye-opening thing I can say about the numbers of this game. Just keep going up and up, and it's just wow, I still can't believe this happened.
Sometimes if you make a really, really good thing, the consumers reward you for that.
Yeah.
Which is
I have a
nice.
question for you, Damiani.
Sure.
You got Mario Kart 8, which is still number one of everything,
yes.
right? And
yeah.
not just no updates
By,
to that.
an
It's
insane
on the
margin.
Switch. They're not necessarily adding stuff to it. Super Mario Odyssey, no updates. But then you have, like you were saying, Pokemon Sword and Shield creeping up the charts. We still have 2 DLCs that are coming out this year.
Yeah, the
that are
Island
still on
Armor,
track.
our Island of
Right.
Shield, whatever they're called. I forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The first one due in June. So I mean, you can expect sales bump from that. But Pokemon is strong, a strong contender. I don't think anything's going to catch Mario Kart though.
No, I don't think
Oh.
it will. There's specifically no update thing with even just the numbers that it got, and then looking the future that's directly ahead for Pokemon, and something like Animal Crossing, which we had a fun little May
Yes.
update on May 1st. Just these little tiny things that will remind people to come back.
Yes.
I think because I think this this zeitgeist's going to crash. I think people are going to get tired. A lot of the people that are just like super high on Animal Crossing now are potentially not going to be playing it around the end of the summer. Where I think also compared to previous Animal Crossings, I think it's really going to give it a run for its money with having holidays really be a big deal, having these updates coming to the game that now people are talking about, and every time that happens, somebody says, okay, well, maybe it's time for me to finally jump in because I didn't expect my friend to still be playing this game, but they still are, so I want to jump in and enjoy it.
A super nice thing with this Animal Crossing is like they can patch that stuff in. Like it's not already programmed into it. They can add stuff that people can't time travel and see early,
So the next Super Mario game, do you think we're going to get an update schedule to that we didn't get in Odyssey, or do you think that's just different for each franchise?
I mean, I think Odyssey's updates are done. I mean, but if you're talking about like if the next 3D Mario game, if it's going to get more post-launch support, is that your question?
Right.
I think what they've seen, what's happened here, I think the answer should be yes. I think the next 3D Mario, and also I think the next Splatoon entry. Splatoon 2 got good support as well, but I think they might want to put in something that's more on par with a Smash Ultimate approach, like maybe making a big deal out of updates, like a new character edition or something like that. I think they can lean more heavily into that with something like with the next Splatoon. But 3D Mario game, absolutely, I think they need to be a little bit more aggressive with their post-launch plans, and it will pay off, I think.
They're sort of like British TV in a way with a lot of their franchises where like they will say like this is the final update for Mario Maker 2, like this is the final update for Splatoon, like whatever. And to me it's kind of bold that they do that. I sort of respect it, even if it isn't like maybe the best business choice, or I don't know, maybe it is, but like it's kind of an interesting thing that you don't see in a lot of games. Like I feel like a lot of companies are more like American TV, where it's like we want to keep this going forever, milk it for every dime,
Right.
So it's kind of interesting, different kind of corporate mentality.
And particularly because, as we were talking about Nintendo sales and Mario Kart and Breath of the Wild, like they don't stop selling.
They don't need to keep adding
Somehow,
stuff.
still people pushing these things up to the top of the charts like GTA 5.
Well,
and it's just...
Which is why I could see it both ways.
My friend today, actually, Bloodworth, my friend today texted me. He said, quote, "Why can't I buy a Switch? I need to buy one. Where can I get one?" And here we are years later, and as soon as he gets a Switch, what is he going to do? He's going to buy Mario Kart. He's going to buy Mario. So,
yeah,
that was interesting.
Yeah. Mario Kart's a juggernaut. I said #1 game. I mean, only Mario Kart on Wii sold more than it. We don't need. I had a bunch of stats for it. We don't need to go over, but I mean, it could end up being the best-selling non-pack-in Nintendo first-party game of all time because Wii Sports is like the juggernaut with like 87 something. What is it? Yeah, it's got like ungodly amount of freaking sales, and it's never going to approach that. But that was a pack-in a lot of territories like North America. But that's a juggernaut. Smash Ultimate.
I feel like it shouldn't count if it's a pack-in. They shouldn't count.
I mean, you can deduct some, but Wii Sports still sold well as an individual game in other territories. I mean, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate also doing well. I mean, #1 selling Smash entry surpassed Brawl a while ago. But there's some other top sellers, so like more recent games. Super Mario Maker 2, I'm really happy with how well it did. 5.48 million worldwide. That's a very good number for that game.
I love that game.
Yeah, I think it got the sales it deserved, I think, in the end. I was actually shocked that they were that high. I think that's pretty good.
It's a quaint, perfect little game, It's just...
And I fully expect another Maker entry sooner than later. For sure.
Really?
After this,
I don't know.
I don't think maybe not Mario Maker, but another Maker type game. That's what I meant. Yeah. Doesn't have to be Mario Maker, but another Maker entry.
Damiani loves those Nintendo teases. Still waiting for Breath of the Wild 2 this year, Damiani.
They added
Zelda. New Mario, Damiani.
But
they added
there's
Zelda
other
into this one.
There's also 3D. I mean, even if you go Mario,
Metroid.
there's 3D Mario. There's Metro. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff.
Super Metroid Maker, I would lose my marbles.
Save that for maybe the next friend code when we're talking about Mario Maker 2.
Nice.
Link's Awakening to
Shut up,
Switch.
Metroidvania.
Link's Awakening Awakening
So
for
well.
Switch, 4.38 million worldwide. That's 500,000 more than the original Link's Awakening on Game Boy. So it outsold that. It doesn't outsold the original and DX combined, but it might at some point. Astral Chain's a million seller. Still did well. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, 1.26 million. I mean, it's a Pokemon name. I'm still surprised they even sold that much. This next number, I thought I was disappointed with, but then I had to put into context. Fire Emblem Three Houses sold 2.87 million worldwide. For all the brouhaha last year about how popular it was and how well its sales was, that seems a little low in the grand scheme of Switch things, but it's about to become the best-selling Fire Emblem entry in the series, period, about to surpass Fate. So I guess that is a big deal, for that series.
I mean, like, you can't underestimate just the power of the Switch, man. Like, I played that game 1.5 times, and I hadn't played a Fire Emblem game since, like, maybe the old days. I don't know. I can't remember.
I think it sets it up perfectly for whatever the next Fire Emblem is to be even a bigger deal. I think they have a big, huge opportunity at the next one. Jones, you might like this. The last one I'm going to talk about, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, is a million seller, 1.08 million.
I don't think it's enough for a 4. I don't see 4 happening, but especially because it's just like that was the time to make a Marvel game. Doesn't matter what it was, focusing on one particular property or something, and especially like just right after, because that was before Endgame, wasn't that like right after Infinity War, or was that?
Yeah, that came out July.
That was just right in that gap.
And April's Endgame, and July was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
That was a good time.
But yeah, Nintendo doing really well.
Thank you, Nintendo. Yeah. Way to go, Nintendo. Also this week, EA Play going forward on June 11th.
Yep.
Don't know if that's a part of Summer Game Fest. Don't know if that's a part of what IGN's doing.
Probably
EA's
not.
just got to EA. Yeah, EA's probably be like, we're doing our own thing. Rumors of Mass Effect remaster popping up, and it'll be interesting to see whether they specifically have stuff to show, or whether they're just like, hey, we're EA, we're gonna have EA Play. But obviously it's gonna be a digital event.
EA is listed as part of Summer Game Fest, so I'm guessing that the EA Play is probably included in there.
Jeff could get them if the ESA couldn't,
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is in the current stages of planning.
So yeah, that's interesting. So there's a book called Final Fantasy VII Ultimania that came out in Japan. It's currently only in Japanese, but there are a ton of fans that are translating it. So the source that Jones just referenced, Twitter username Itai Kimochi, was the one who translated the excerpt from this interview. It was with Toriyama, one of the co-directors, Hamaguchi, one of the other co-directors, and Endo, who's the battle director, and the trio were talking about the plans for the next installment's world. And in response to that, Hamaguchi stated that we are in the current stages of planning, so nothing is solid yet. People like to point out this interview. All the interviews in this book were conducted on around March 19th, 2020. That's about almost a month and a half ago. The thing is, this is wrong. I think the important thing here is people are panicking a bit that they say it's in the planning stages, and it kind of goes against something that was said a little bit earlier, but it doesn't really actually when we look at the interviews. There was the quote. The quote that seems to be in conflict is from Kitase, the producer of Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is translated by Itaku. Same person translated this as well. And in their part of the interview, they said, they talked about how faithful the next parts would be, and what everyone assuming it was going to be a trilogy, basically. And they said that basically, and I'm just trying to get the actual quote here. My text is a little off. 1 second. Okay, so here we go. So it comes from Kitase. It says, we have a rough idea on the next part, but it's not been completely decided yet, or basically what they're going to do with the next few parts. It's impossible to talk about this right now. It seems that many people think that this will all become a trilogy, but it all depends on how many parts we ultimately make, said Nomura. If we separate it into bigger chunks, it will take more time, but if we take smaller portions, it could be done on a shorter span. Personally, I would like to deliver it fast. So people were taking this quote and taking the headlines which said, future Final Fantasy 7 parts will be shorter to come out faster, and thought this decision was already made. But if you actually read the interview, they're just offering philosophies at this point about if we made them beefier, they could take longer. So if we did like a trilogy, it would take way longer. But if we do the smaller parts, we could do it faster. And Nomura's like, I personally prefer to do faster. So this really isn't in conflict with the statement, this newer statement that they're only in the planning stages.
We also spent so much time during Remix development freaking out that, like, I think everything's going to work out really well in the end. And obviously this is all still speculation, so we don't spend too much time on it. But a lot of interesting takes, and I always love when something has to be translated, because I can just imagine people being like, it's like all this potential information in Japanese. Anybody speak Japanese? Amazon Game Studios is launching Crucible on May 20th, the free-to-play PC. This is something that they had previously announced, but the reason why I'm mentioning it is because this is like the first big-budget Amazon Game Studios thing. This is, and I love this too, Huber. Definitely worth mentioning. They talked to the head of the studio, Relentless, which is working on the team. His name, Frank Castle.
Whoa,
Sick.
Frank Castle.
Don't mess with him.
But we'll see. Yeah, don't underestimate that game. It'll be really interesting to see. It's definitely something that they want to be a Valorant, to be a Fortnite. So it'll be interesting to see how well that does for Amazon Game Studios and what else we can expect from that.
Why
Their
does
teams in the
everybody
future-
put like a talking raccoon thing in their games? I don't.
Sold?
Hey, Night in the Woods is a 10 out of 10.
Well, Trash Pandas are the next ones to come.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Last of Us 2 leaks were confirmed by Sony as being outside Naughty Dog and SIE. Kotaku says it was probably hackers, but and again, that's just like really the extent of how much we would talk about it on the show.
hackers.
Yeah, I've
Because
avoided all of
don't-
this. I don't like this is already this. You even mentioning it is making me uncomfortable, Jones.
Look at him. Look
Like,
at everybody. Look at
please
Huber
move
right
on,
now.
yeah.
Why would I do that extensively to
Yeah,
Huber?
move
Why would
on.
I do that? Frontier Developments is working on a Warhammer Age of Sigmar RTS due in 2023.
Yeah.
Love getting that 3-year lead time on
Yeah,
the announcement.
Don't tell
Hannah-
us about this stuff, guys. Don't
Hannah
tell
John-
us.
Hannah John Kamen from the second Ant-Man film is in talks to play Jill Valentine in the film reboot of Resident Evil.
Yeah,
Steam
good
Doll's
stuff.
Order of Chaos, a Kickstarter Metroidvania starring David Hayter, starts in June. Like a pissed off Hayter. It's so great in the trailer. He's gruff as you remember him, but he's like an evil gruff. Like I'm very curious to see that project come together. Maybe you can shine a light on this. No pressure, Huber. We can just move on. But new story DLC for Mortal Kombat 11 titled Aftermath
Yes.
is coming with RoboCop voiced by Peter Weller.
Yes.
Whoa.
My newest episode of Huber Syndrome actually deals with this very topic, DLC and Mortal Kombat, with a little tease. If this doesn't get you to watch it, Don gives his thoughts. Tune into that.
Prince of Persia Redemption came back to life, came back into the spotlight after sitting incubated on YouTube for 8 years. This video had been uploaded to YouTube 8 years ago. Nobody cared or saw it or did whatever. But that's the internet for you. That's YouTube.
Come on, internet
and
detectives.
it's pretty wild. This wasn't this gen. This would be last gen, right?
Yeah.
It looks pretty good for
Yeah.
last gen. I think the protagonist is a little dry, but that definitely looks like a fun game that I would play. And it's just even after Assassin's Creed has just kicked so much ass for so long, like it felt good to get a little taste of that Prince of Persia vibe. To go back to that, I would still be completely game for.
Oh,
another
and like
game.
rewinding enemies and stuff.
Yeah, it's taking ripping their soul out of their body. Destiny 2 coming to next-gen consoles, which we probably could have predicted, but that has been confirmed by Bungie. THQ Nordic and Koch Media traded Painkiller and Red Faction for Sacred, Risen, Rush for Berlin, Second Sight, and Singles Flirt Up Your Life. They just whoop.
like a sports trade style. Like,
Yeah.
Singles flirt up your life? That's
Yeah.
the like nudie
That's-
version of Sims from a billion years ago. Who is trading that for what? What?
These two people.
I don't know what's
And
going on.
It's worth noting that THQ Nordic and Koch Media are in the same company. They have the same parent company, but it's still pretty funny that these. Hey, what do you got here? It's like Go Fish, you know.
Right.
Like, what do you? Yeah.
Not official, but Sekiro Shadows Die Twice now is a multiplayer mod. If you want to
Saw
check that
that.
out, and thanks to you,
Mrs. Robinson?
Mr. Ian Hank.
Thanks to you.
Close. I just typed this in right actually during the podcast, but Ghost Runner is now available until May 14th. If none of you have heard about this, this is a demo for an upcoming game, first-person parkour stealth
It looked kind of cool.
futuristic combat. Looked really cool, actually. It's a lot of like you jumping into midair and stealth and then moving where you are in midair and then dropping on people. Kind of Dishonored vibes, but a lot faster. And I just bring it up now because it goes away on May 14th. So
Jones,
check that out.
you just said the
Now's
magic
time to
word.
do it.
You've got so much Vampire Bloodlines hype. Have you played the Dishonored games? Do you like them?
I adored the first Dishonored game. Did not touch the second Dishonored game.
Got it.
Second one has cool
Just because of time.
stuff.
Yeah.
It looked amazing. Yeah.
Sure.
And you did like a level or something. You did something on the I think that was the demo actually that I saw.
Yeah.
Was the guy's house that all the
Yeah,
inventions move
yeah,
around.
yeah.
And,
That level is awesome.
Yeah.
but you, Huber, actually said the magic word. Love and respect.
Oh.
Love and respect.
So, Rufus.
Yeah.
Sound grody. I love it.
Rufus.
You all right, Rufus?
That was good.
Hang in there, Rufus. I think
It's like
Rufus
he's like
is
KK.
just...
There's different versions of the
Hang on,
theme. You know,
Rufus.
what was
Yeah.
the genre of that one? Was that like grunge?
I think
Was that-
I think it's Sorrow. He misses Bossman.
Yeah.
sure. KK Sorrow.
Glitch pop.
Rufus Sorrow. This comes from Halftime Turnaround. I recently upgraded my PC after having a 10-year-old laptop, and I am deep diving into Steam, but finding something much better than I expected. I've been finding free, legitimate demos for either early access games or just smaller indies, and I'm having a blast to see what's available. I've not had this much fun with demos since I would get demo discs with magazines in the 90s. I honestly
Yeah.
thought the age of demos was done, and this is inspiring me to develop my own board game because I have no idea about coding. Do you think that AAA games are just certain they can succeed without demos, or publishers just don't want to unveil the actual quality of the game before release? And I bring this up because we are just about to start the summer with all of these companies maybe getting their demos ready for E3
Yeah.
and then being like, what do we do? Do we throw them up on Steam? Do we throw them up on PS4,
Well,
Switch?
summer games is
Do you think we're
promising
going to get more
demos.
demos this summer than usual? And how do you think publishers
Hope.
generally feel about them right
Summer
now?
Game Fest is promising demos.
Yeah.
Jeff said it's demos. Demos
On Steam
galore.
Yeah, we're
Specifically, too.
expecting
Yeah.
the demos.
I think
I
demos
wonder-
are freaking awesome. I think companies, there's no one rule for demos in the industry. You know, you look at Capcom and they love demos. They're going to throw out some Resident Evil demos here and there, give you a chance to play it. But like Naughty Dog or Sony, you know, you're not playing God of War or Last of Us before release. So yeah, I think it's just a case to case. I'm really hoping for a game for Cyberpunk Bloodworth. I would just love it if they would release their character creator before the game
sure.
comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's when people do that.
I want to see more stuff like that where you're not necessarily playing the game, the finished product as a demo, but you're interacting with it in some way.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is that, and there ends up being these pitfalls with demos, because and what's actually kind of funny about that is I feel like Nintendo, or at least people on the eShop, not even necessarily Nintendo themselves, a lot of times like they'll put out a game and then you'll see on their like new release listing like a demo version of that game like 3-4 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe a month later, and the thing is that is probably the more better stable way to do it, because you've got to like take your attention away from the game to make the demo or give it to another team. And I remember Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning, like people went from being hyped on that game to thinking it was trashed because the demo was so bad and so broken, and like I remember it crashing on me multiple times and not being able to complete the demo. And then you get these situations like Yakuza and Trials of Mana, where people find a way, like they give people a piece of the game, but they don't really have a way to like close off the rest of the game. And so what you end up happening is someone finds a way to unlock the whole game, and then they got to pull the demo and figure out what the heck to do with it.
Yeah.
I think it works best for like smaller games. Huber, what's the like tribal tower defense game where you got to like dance by the
Pixel Junk
different-
Monsters.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
baby.
Man. That demo was like instant purchase for me after I played
Yes.
that demo. So I think if it's a game that a lot of people haven't heard of, you'll be attracted to the fact that they released the demo, and then potentially you'll fall in love with it. Where when you have big names, there's like so much
Risky.
expectations. Yeah, risky. I think
Yeah.
I
People
might
want
avoid that.
those big, like
They-
Final Fantasy VII Remake, like
Yeah.
everyone's going to check that thing out.
Yeah,
But at the same
they
time,
were confident though.
Yeah, it was a nice thing to do, but at the same time, especially when stuff comes out on PC, like just inevitably you're gonna get data mined, and these companies. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out with this, like the summer event stuff, of how many demos actually start showing up, and in the wake of all this, some of these games, get data mined and spoilers go out there. I think it's almost at this point, it's like inevitably gonna happen, and like people should just maybe just accept that. I wish some people would be less afraid of that, because ultimately, even I mean, I know it's going to make you scared, Huber, and just say the name Last of Us 2, but nothing else about it. I just don't think it's going to have this huge negative effect on sales or like perception of the game. I think no, like leaks and stuff. At the end of the day, I honestly think leaks for narrative driven stuff. Ultimately, it hurts a few people, and I think it hurts the development staff the most. But I think so many people are still going to play the game, like regardless of that. It's not going to like dissuade people from buying the game. Ultimately.
Mm-hmm. What I love about, or what I like when I see it, it's kind of rare, and I wish people would do it more often. I mean, Huber mentioned Capcom; they have fun with it sometimes too. But like, and it reduces the risk of all these other things. Is I like it when the demo is like adjacent content, like like a weird side thing, where it's like maybe not even representative of the gameplay, but it's like a bizarre intro into the world or something. I just think stuff like that is so neat because it can be like a side thing. Obviously, it's intensive on the team, takes a lot of resources away, so I understand why you don't see more of it, but I think that's neat.
Totally. Dead Rising 2 has a prologue and an epilogue, and it's so cool.
Greatest demos of all time. Greatest demos of all time. It wasn't even in the game. It was
like $5, right, Jones?
Yeah. I am struggling to get this podcast in on time, but I just got a game that's too much fun, man. It's like my number one challenge because we had such a great conversation about Xbox. It's just like, how do I shut these guys up? How do I get them talking? How do I shut them up? I'll figure out. I'll get better.
We're all talkers, Jones. We're all talkers.
But I want to play this game. Gaspard, hey allies, game developer names are weird. So I have a quick game for you called Real or Fake. I have a list of 16 game studios, and your job is to guess if they're real or fake.
Fun. This is fun.
Bonus points if you know what they're best known for. Hope this is fun. Love and respect, Gaspard. Number 1, Hamumu Games.
Real. I don't know.
It's hard with a number 1, man.
Hamumu, Hamumu.
I'll say fake. But
I think it's real. I can pick. I think I
real for a
picture
number
their
one.
logo.
I'll go with real.
Real, best known for Kid Mystic and Spooky Castle.
Oh, okay.
Number 2, Jupiter.
Fake.
Oh, that's real.
Oh, Huber says fake. Real.
Bloodworth sounded very confident.
Bloodworth was.
Some of these blood is going to call
That
me.
was
Some of
cocky-
these,
that
some of
was
these I was
cocky
like, oh,
blood.
come on.
That
I
was
know this.
smug blood. I was like,
Insight.
oh, that's real.
I'm trying to remember what they're known for, but
Best known for many Picross games and Spectrobes.
Oh,
There we go.
Good old
Spectrobes. Yep.
Spectrobes.
Yep. I should have known that. Damn.
Crush Games with a K.
Fake.
It is
Probably fake. Okay.
I knew I'd get
That
one
sounds so.
eventually.
That's, yeah,
Just
that
say
sounds
fake
like.
every time.
We got 16. Yeah, I'm gonna burn through these when people get
Yeah.
them right.
Okay. Yeah.
Hothead Games.
Fake.
Real.
Yeah.
fake.
I think
Real.
it's close to a
No,
real.
I think
okay.
I've seen the guy goes.
Best known for Death Spank and
Death
the
Spank.
Penny Arcade Adventures games.
Yeah. That's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shout out again to Penny
Okay.
Arcade.
Damn it.
Moon Sky Entertainment.
Fake.
No.
With a E?
Moon Sky, one word. Moon
With an E
Sky.
at the end?
No, just one Y together. Moon Sky.
No. I'm gonna say no.
Fake.
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 Yeah.
People Can Fly.
Real.
Real.
Yes.
Yeah,
Come
real.
on.
Come
Yeah.
on, best known
Come
for Painkiller.
on.
Splash Damage.
Real.
Yes.
Real.
They did
Of course.
Brink.
Did they? Best. Gaspard said best known for Dirty Bomb.
Yep.
North Pole.
Don't know that one.
Real.
Say
Fake.
Fake.
Yeah.
Media Play Interactive.
Real.
That sounds so
Real.
generic. It's
That
gotta
sounds
be
like
real.
some old Mickey game.
Yeah.
Fake.
Oh.
That was the trap.
That was a
Share
good one.
Entertainment.
Real.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real.
What did
best
they
known
make?
for Shadow Complex.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leapfrog Studios.
Real.
Real.
Fake.
Real.
Wait, what?
No.
Leapfrog is the toy.
Well, yeah,
It's
but
the-
it's
like the
it's,
kids thing.
It's computer games. I don't know.
According to
That's-
Gaspard.
That's
Sure.
an edge case.
Google it right now.
That's
Sniff
fine.
it, blood. Sniff
I'm
it.
okay to be
I mean,
wrong.
Leapfrog, they make little games
wrong.
for that little system,
fine.
so it's I don't know what
There's
you
not a
count.
studio
I'm
named
wrong.
Leapfrog?
Major AAA, maybe not.
Yeah,
Cave.
I don't know. Real.
Fake.
Cave Story.
Cave sounds real.
Cave's
Real.
real.
Best
Yeah.
known for Donpachi and Mushihi Mesama. Oh man,
Poor
Mushihi
Jones.
Masama.
Mushihime-sama. Mushi Hime-sama. Yes.
All you corrections
Bloodworth
people,
saved
back
it.
down. Back down.
Oh,
Up
I was
and
like, why are
away.
you doing this?
Yes, that's real, right?
Real.
What
Up
is
and
it?
away.
Yeah,
Oh.
real, right?
Fake.
Real?
Fake.
Housemark.
Real.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they make they're the
Resogun.
yeah.
And Nex Machina.
Well, yeah.
Although
before they
shoutouts to Outland.
They gave up on that.
Yeah,
stuff,
dude. Outland.
Nova Ray LLC.
Dude, how smart, man.
that LLC
Fake.
part.
Fake. The LLC's so good though. None of these had LLC.
I'm sniffing them. All of the fake ones have their 2 words put together. Media
Yeah.
Play, Nova Ray, Moon
Yeah.
Sky.
North Pole.
Yeah, Leapfrog
North
does
Pole.
not come up as a
Leapfrog.
studio. There's a Frog
Alright.
Leap Studios,
There we
which
go.
looks like
Ah,
a
I
music
gotcha.
Ah,
But Leapfrog
finally-
is that little computer for kids.
Yeah.
Finally, shout out to Ben Moore. Spiders.
I hope that's real.
I
That's
think
real.
it's
They did.
What did they do? What did they do, Huber? What did
It's
they do?
Bound by Flame or the other
whoa,
one.
what?
Maybe.
They did a like a Souls-like.
Gaspard says best known for Techromancer and
Yeah, and Greedfall.
and Greedfall.
Okay.
I saw that names pop up. So many spiders.
It would have been. It would have been.
Every
It
time
would have
I
been too
rebooted that
easy,
sucker.
but I'm bummed that Fat Shark didn't make the cut.
Batch.
They put out Vermintide. They do.
Shark Jump would be a good developer name.
Oh, yeah.
And that was thank you, Gaspard. That was a fun game. And I just
That's
want to
fun.
wrap up with some jolly vibes. Shy Ambar says, last week you mentioned the part that Parvati stopped you before making your first choice at the end of Outer Worlds. I want to share with you a nice story. Usually when I create a character in games, I always create myself. This time, I decided to create my daughter. She's a year and 5 months old. That was a mistake. Now I care so much. Every death is very hard for me. And when Parvati stopped me, I didn't know what the right thing to do was. And I was so sure before she stopped me that I stopped the game and called 2 friends with the highest morals I know. They hadn't played the game. I described the situation and asked them what they would do in this scenario. It took me 3 hours to make a decision. So the moral of the story is, don't build your children into a game. Thank you, Shy.
Did you get the best outcome? There are 3 outcomes to that.
I don't know. I don't know there were 3. I thought there were just 2.
There's one where it kind of there's a sorta everybody wins outcome kinda
All right.
to that scenario.
Good to know.
Kinda. The one guy probably still gets screwed over, but whatever.
Time for bets.
Oh. It feels bad to not be able to make the lights go all red.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know.
It feels
Ready
bad.
for that red.
I know.
What if
It's gonna be a whole different vibe doing this
It's gonna
sucker.
be a while.
Here
till
we go
you get
in on mine. Here we
The,
go.
the closest I can do. Yeah, the closest I can do. I can make my light turn blue.
Oh yeah, I can.
Oh, yeah.
I can do this. I can be like.
let me-
Very effective, Damiani. Very effective.
It
I'm
doesn't
just
do.
Googling
It doesn't go
red.
up gradually. Like it has to change settings.
Apex Legends Season 5 launches next Tuesday. This time, next week, we record this on Thursday night, FYI. How many people will be watching Apex Legends on Twitch? Ian Hank,
Oh, I'm first now?
how many people? Sure, why not?
I'm always last in the old days.
Well,
176,000.
wow.
Wow.
All right.
Got 40K right now.
Yeah. Michael Huber.
112,352.
Uh-oh. Michael Damiani.
$250,000. That was the old bet above it, scratched out. By the way.
Okay.
That's a lot. I like it.
Crazy. Daniel Bloodworth.
I was way low on this.
Oh,
22.
dude. Oh, we're screwed, man. 15K. Oh, I forgot to flip. I've been flipped this whole time. Look at that. It spins backwards. I flipped it for
It looks right to us.
for
Looks
something.
right to us. Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Is your HD enabled too?
Backwards to me. I don't know.
HDR.
I don't know.
15K. Let me lock those in. Last week's bet. How many downloads will the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer have this time next week? Now, keep in mind, this is the cinematic trailer. I know everybody's all
Okay.
hog and bothered over the new trailer that came out.
Downloads or
Maybe
views?
not, I guess. Views. I always say downloads because
Downloads. Yeah, I was like, what?
I was like,
That's
who
my-
are you?
Carry over from. This is the game trailer
Page
days,
view.
man.
What are they?
When-
Page loads.
When you own the servers, it's all downloads.
Oh, you own the
I had
YouTube
to
servers?
get.
Wow.
I had to get.
Whoa.
No, back in the game trailers days we did, but
Yeah.
I had to get
Well, we
that
also
mindset.
used to,
Views.
Ian, I think before you came, you used to be able to have a choice. You could watch in Flash or QuickTime or Windows.
Yeah.
Windows Media.
I remember you could download them from the site at first.
ProRes
I thought.
LT.
How many views will the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer have this time next week? I bet 7.5 million. Daniel Bloodworth bet 11 million. Ian Hank bet 5.2 million. Michael Huber bet 11.2 million. And Ben Moore bet a flat 4 million. Let me refresh. The current download count is 6.9 million.
Oh.
I bet 7.5. So that would be 7. Okay, wait. Yeah.
I see
that's me.
6.8 million here, Jones. That's weird.
Can you refresh that? 6,971,285.
Oh.
On the North America. Ubisoft
Yeah.
North America. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go. 6.8 would still do it for me, so.
So you win, Jones?
Huh?
You win?
I win!
Damn it.
We'll get him next week.
On a trailer view, which makes me feel just... And to get a win after moderating. And to get my first win for the team.
Nice.
Here we go. For me, well, it might be backwards, potentially. Well, actually, no. I'm recording right now. No, Blood, go to your right. Go to your right, Blood.
Go to my right.
You're right. Yeah.
No.
There we did.
Whoa, that's backwards
All right.
for me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
I'm above him.
listeners and viewers, about patreon.com/easyallies. That's where you would want to go if you want to support the Easy Allies. Now, we get, obviously, revenue from YouTube. We get revenue from Twitch. We have merchandise that you can go check out, easyallies.com, if you want to see where you can go check that out. But primarily, we are funded through patreon.com/easyallies. And what's really cool about it is that you can not only get all sorts of fun reward tiers, but even for just $1, you can get a bunch of exclusive shows that we do. We're doing a lot of cool spoiler modes. We just put up a spoiler mode recently, a second spoiler mode, talking more extensively about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ian Hank and myself and Omar De Armas just did one on Westworld Season 3, and I was going to record it tomorrow, but I will not have time to finish the game. Very shortly, I will be sitting down with Brad Ellis, just the two of us, and we will talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I will be done with that, and I will have lots of thumbs up and thumbs down about that game that we can go into
I wanna
in
hear
exhaustive
your opinion
detail.
on that.
But if you are listening to this on a Sunday and you were like, I wish I could get this 2 days earlier, for just $5, you can join the early access tier, which not only applies to the podcast, but several other shows that we do here at Easy Allies. And if you enjoyed Gaming Gladiators at the beginning and Love and Respect, you can submit to those segments as well. Those posts go up on Tuesday, where I take submissions for both of those. So if you would like to be more of a part of Easy Allies and help us financially, we would appreciate it. Or if you just want to learn more about us, patreon.com/easyallies is the place to go.
Jones.
Huh?
Jones.
What?
We didn't do the animal teams and the noises.
We didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you got
no.
a point.
Jump
you got a
past that.
point.
The score.
Oh,
Scoreboard.
but that's fun. So okay. So let me do. Well, I slipped it right in the middle of bets, that Patreon thing, because maybe a lot of people skip it. They're done with the bets, and then they
see?
click on the close, and they go straight. I gotcha.
You hook them with they're waiting to hear the scores.
But
yeah,
I now
yeah.
can officially type it in. Let me actually add it to the document here. Scores. So we have the Jovial Penguins and the, hold on, don't say the words yet.
Oh, I was
Jovial
like,
Penguins, and we have the Astonished Scorpions. Oh boy. Yep. Everything goes wrong the first time I try to do it. That brings our score totals to Jovial Penguins 0. Astonished Scorpions 1.
The gasp and the sting. That's great.
Yeah, we need to work on that penguin
Yeah,
noise.
we got to figure ours out. How do you make a happy penguin noise?
Happy feet.
Happy feet.
My nose could be gushing blood.
Yeah, we
Happy
gotta
Feet,
get
the
the
same
Danny
director
DeVito
as
quote.
Mad Max Fury Road, is that?
Yes, George Miller directed Happy Feet.
Yeah.
Nice.
And both Babe films, right?
Yeah, I think so. One of them
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, definitely the first one. Before we wrap this sucker up, a pleasant shout out to Blue, Caleb Togi Crawford, El Fanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, and Jesse Blue. Now we're going Ian first, then
Okay.
me, then Blood, then Huber, then Damiani. Damiani, you go after Huber. Okay, ready? Go, Ian.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
A bit
Pretty
long.
good.
We can tighten that up,
good.
and I should have done that beforehand, but thank you, gentlemen.
While you were doing it, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, so a huge congratulations to myself. I get to promote any Easy Allies video I'd like to promote. I get the final word on anything I disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into my head. And I get to sign off with my trademark sign off. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be fine. I think it's going to be okay at the end of the day. I think almost like it being so good, like, hurt it in a weird way because people now are like so hungry. Whereas if it like had a lot of issues, people would be like, whatever, it's fine. They botched the whole thing, whatever. But it's just like it turned out so well in so many people's eyes that it's just absolutely killing them now. To get any sort of potentially bad news, I don't think it's going to take 5 years. Brad Ellis backs me up on this in Easy Ally Slack. I would definitely like to promote the newest episode of Dawn's Discount Gaming with the busiest, craziest thumbnail of the entire series. And don't be nervous when you watch it. You're like, wait, did Don just go shoot this? This was in the can for a while. This was he was able to get a lot of this footage.
Don takes his time.
Don takes his time.
On his projects. They're
like a
glorious.
fine wine. But this is really fun. It is clearly the most beloved member of the Easy Allies going around and trying to get those hot deals on either things that he thinks is going to turn him a fine profit, or obviously some every now and then some stuff that he truly holds dear. And it's just there's all of that and more in this episode. It's 17 minutes.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yep.
It goes
You'll
places.
be on the edge of your seat. It definitely goes places. You'll be on the edge of
Sometimes
your
I was
seat.
just like,
the entire time. And once again, I would like to reiterate thank you to everybody that sent me well wishes and for continuing to support the Easy Allies and listen to this podcast. Cheers!
Those HR Geegers were definitely ejaculating